So this, as you see here, is our new portal for applicants to submit applications and financial information. We hope that this info session is going to give you all the info you need to complete your app, but if you have any questions, the email address to contact for help is right here, and it's operations@transjusticefundingproject.org. You can click on what we fund over here to get a little more info about our eligibility criteria. We fund groups that are in the US or US territories, budgets of less than $250,000. Y'all have to be a group, meaning 2 or more people working together towards a shared trans justice goal. And your group needs to be trans-led, meaning the majority of the people in charge of making the big decisions around finances and programs are trans, gender nonconforming, non-binary, intersex. So since we only fund groups of 2 or more people, in the application, we're going to require you to enter 2 different contact people and their information. But because of the way that this portal works right now, only one person can actually log in and access the application at a time. So let's say that me and Kathy are in a group together. If we want to apply, one of us needs to create an account and start the application. I'm going to be the one to create the account and access the application. I'll still add Kathy to the application in the group contact section, so Kathy and I will get the same email communication about the application, but only me and my login can be used to actually fill out, edit, and submit the application. So before you all get started, please choose who's going to be the main person to create an account. So you start by entering your email address here and you hit continue. So it's going to send a code to your email address. So I'm going to go grab that code and copy it and paste it into here. Now you'll see where you can put your first and last name. This doesn't have to be your legal name, just whatever you want us to address you as. Please don't enter your group name here. Then you enter a password, and now you click these permissions and you hit complete registration. So now you can see the dates for the 3 application periods. Groups can only apply once per year. There are just 3 different times in the year that your group can choose to apply. If you want to apply again, you need to wait until the next calendar year. So to apply, click here, start application. So you'll see category, you can just hit 2025. It's the only option right now. And similarly, there's only one option, cycle 1. In the future, if it's cycle 2, click cycle 2 or cycle 3 and so on. Enter your group name here and then click save and next. So now it's going to show you the eligibility screener. Please make sure when you're filling this out, read the gray boxes on the right side of the page. Those have helpful tips and guidance about what we mean by each question, the correct format to enter info, etc. And once you've filled that out, please click check eligibility. If you're eligible and you pass the eligibility screener, you're now going to see the full application, and it's got all of these tabs up here. And if you want, you can click around to different tabs. You don't have to do this application in exactly this order. Once you're done working on any particular tab, you can either click Save and Next, or you can click Save and Close, and that'll just exit the application and bring you here again. If you're here, whether you just logged in or not, you can click back on the title of your application, or you can click these 3 little dots and hit Edit, and that's going to bring you back into your application so that you can keep working on it. Just as a note, if you click Submit Application before you've filled out all required fields and tabs, the system's not going to let you submit. So you'll see that message. You'll see all of the tabs that you didn't enter info into in red. It'll also show what fields you didn't enter in red. So now let's go through the application 1 tab at a time. So this first tab is some brief info about your group. We're going to ask you some questions about your group's name and any previous or alternate names you might have had. We're going to ask you your group's nonprofit status. TJFP, as always, is able to fund groups regardless of nonprofit status. So please respond with whatever status is accurate for your group at the time of application. We're going to ask you about your budget, whether your group's applied before, your group's address, social media, website, and how you heard about us. To move to the next tab, you can click Save and Next. This is the new Financial Information tab. It is optional. If you'd like to, you can give us your payment info ahead of time. This way, if your group is awarded a grant, we can get started processing it sooner. There's no penalty for not providing this ahead of time. This info also is only going to be seen by TJFP staff. It's not going to be seen by the community grant-making fellows who actually make those grant decisions. So this doesn't factor into whether or not you get a grant at all. This next tab here is group contacts. We're going to ask your preferred language, and we require 2 main group contacts. You can also add up to 3 additional contacts called support contacts. The 2 main group contacts are required, but the support contacts are optional. The main group contacts, 3 important things. They need to be regular committed members of the group. They need to be involved in writing the application, or at least be able to answer questions about it if we've got any questions, and be able to provide financial info, or more importantly, be aligned with the other contact on how y'all want to get paid. We also require that the 2 group contacts have their own unique email addresses, so please don't enter the same one for both contacts or an email address that other people can access. With support contacts, the reason we have these is because we understand that with groups, there might be some people like your fiscal sponsor contact or a translator or another group member who you want to keep in the loop about the application. So with support contact, you can actually select which permissions you want to give this person. So once you're done with the contacts, you can do save and next. This section, we're just going to ask for a short description of what you do, under 40 words. And then this question, based on feedback from our fellows, we decided to make it a little more specific and ask about what a typical day in the life of your group looks like. You have the option of submitting it either as a written answer or as a video. We also added this option since people can have different ways that they feel most comfortable expressing themselves. There's no advantage or penalty to answering it either way. If you'd like to answer this question with a video, please make sure that the video is under 5 minutes long. It can be any format you desire. It could be a slideshow with a voiceover. It can just be someone talking to the camera. It can be a tour through your offices or footage of an event while you talk about what it was like, whatever makes sense to y'all. And I just want to pause here and address the use of AI or language learning models to generate your written answers, either in this question or anywhere else in the application. So we really understand that AI can be a helpful tool in grant writing, especially if you're a grassroots group that doesn't have much experience with writing grants. However, AI is actually more likely in this case to hurt your application, since it tends to make everything just sound exactly the same. Even when the details might be different, the tone and style, if you're just going straight from AI, ends up sounding really generic and vague. Our community grant-making fellows are reading a lot of applications, and they want to hear your unique voice. So we really encourage you to write as though you're talking to a friend or a coworker who already understands that trans justice is important. If you must use AI, please go through the text it generates and make sure it's actually accurate to what your org does, and give us details that are really specific to your group. So if you partnered with another org, name that org. If you worked on legislation, tell us what the bill was or what the initiative was. We want to hear specifics that could only come from being part of your org and part of your work, and not from a robot. Moving along to the next tab, we're going to ask you about the area you serve and the people you serve. At the top here, we've got a written response question and a few shorter answer drop-down questions, and then some demographic checkboxes as well. These are entirely optional. If you don't feel comfortable with checking demographic boxes, feel free to write about it in your written response. Oh, and just to mention, if there's any demographics that aren't listed there, you can also list them here. This tab is called Focus Areas and Methods of Approach. We're going to be asking you about your top 3 focus areas, issues that your group was created to address. So these include things like climate justice, healthcare. This is how you select. You just drop down and you click select. Sex worker rights. Below the focus areas, we have methods of approach. So this is a newer addition to our application, and it's designed to help community grant-making fellows understand what strategies and projects your group is using to address your focus areas. For the methods of approach, you can actually select as many as actually apply to your group. There's no limit on how many you can select, just whatever is accurate to what your group does. This tab is just short drop-down ways of answering that question. We've got the Projects, Programs, and Collaborations tab. We're going to ask you about what kind of projects and programs you're working on. This tab is called Leadership and Intersectionality. We're going to be asking you about who's in your leadership and how their unique points of view affect your work. We're going to ask you about how your group supports trans leadership in your org and in your communities, your relationship to anti-oppression work and how doing that shapes the work you do, and how your group centers the leadership of those most marginalized. We're going to be asking you for some demographic info again, completely optional. This time for leadership. As we mentioned before, selecting more options doesn't increase your chances of getting a grant. Then we've got this tab where we'll ask you about your plans for the grant. And just as a reminder, TJFP, as always, gives general operating funds, no strings attached. You can use the funds for whatever helps your group further its goals. In this tab, you can upload any more additional materials like photos, flyers. You can even upload another video if you'd like. Again, the limit is 5 minutes in length. And then we've got the final tab, permissions, just a couple of last permissions before you can submit your application. If a tab's lighting up in red, but you're going through and you don't see any fields highlighted in red, like none of the questions are highlighted in red, please reach out and we'll fix that for you. But once you've actually submitted your application, that's it. Thanks y'all for your interest in applying, and we hope this was helpful. We're gonna upload this recording to our website shortly.